She's like love, 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 and music. La la la, love, 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 and music.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner, and this is my review for, y'all know my favorite show, 911 Season 1, Episode 3. Yes, I still have my scarf on. This is the third review I've done back to back to back. I'm just kicking them out. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting them all done. Now, they won't be up until Friday. Until Friday, morning, because I'm going to have to upload these after I'm all done. But, you know what I'm saying? At least I'm getting them all done. As I said, I hope everyone is having a great day, great weekend, great everything. Everything's all good. This episode was good for a couple of reasons. Angela Bassett, and when she talks and gives like little speeches, whether she's upset or happy, I love it, and I can't wait for it. So, we see the first call of the night, because as we know, the show is about these different calls they get. It's about a bouncy house at a party where it has flown away because of the Santa Ana winds or whatever there. And it was funny because it was like a dude who was trying to impress his son, who kind of don't like him all the way or whatever. And so he's like, well, I'm going to go be with my son and jump in this little bouncy house. And this grown-ass adult man just jumping. But because he's jumping and hitting it so hard, he's a grown-ass man, the spikes or the stakes that are hammering to the ground to make it stay, he's loosening them up by jumping his big ass in the goddamn on thing. So he jumped until the whole thing just came up out and flew away. And it was like hanging off the side of a cliff. And the father is thrown out. There's the kids stuck in there. Thank God everyone lives or whatever. But, it was cool. But I'm like, it was cool to see them have to save people on a cliff. And even though this show is about the calls that they get, so I touch on those as well. For me, I love the story about the characters, about the two paramedics, they only show two of the firefighters, which is weird. But, because it's, Buck and Bobby and Chimney and Hen, Althea and Abby. So I like the fact that the story is about these 911 calls, but it's also about these core characters. So, yeah. The next call that they get to 911 is for Althea's daughter, who is OD'd on pain pills. And she's been taken to the hospital in an ambulance, and she tells her son, go next door to the neighbor's house, call your dad and let him know to meet me at the hospital. Now, when she said, I'm like, do they only have one hospital? Because in Michigan, we be like, meet us at Hutzel, meet us at Henry Ford, meet us at St. John Providence, or the one, because we got different St. John's. So we have to say which. You have to specifically say what hospital you're at here in Michigan. So, they get to the hospital, whatever. Michael gets down there, too, and he finds out the girl that took some damn hydrocodone pills to try to kill her damn self. And, Michael thinks it's because they told the kids he was gay. He's like, they weren't ready. We shouldn't have told them. I feel like it's my fault. They weren't ready. But they both are saying that they can't believe they weren't in touch enough with their children, that they didn't pay attention to see that something was wrong with their daughter. And, so they're, just sad or whatever, they're sitting there and Althea's he's holding Althea's arm and comforting her. And then Althea look up and she see this man looking at them. And she like, do you know him? Is he with you? And then Michael look up and sure enough, it's this man. Hey, man, looking at Michael and them. And who is this man? It's the man her husband was on a date with while the daughter was taking the prescription pills. Yep. Michael says, we were at dinner, when it happened, and he drove me here. He's just concerned about me. I would have been like, hold on. Bitch, what? You know what I'm saying? My head was hurting. I would have been like, what you mean? He was concerned. How did he know you had to be concerned? No. No, Michael. It would have been the whole thing if it was me. But, Althea just looked shocked. She did her whole... Because it was shocking to see him say, I was on a date with him. Because, in that therapy session, he told her that he had met someone. And then that evening, the son said, Dad said we can eat without him, meaning Dad was at dinner. So to find out that Dad was at dinner with this man, Okay, and we know this man is just not a man. This man is the man. It was kind of crazy. I would have flipped out. That's just me. Althea just says, I'm going to go get some coffee. And she gets up and walks away. And Michael is sitting there, and the guy is sitting there too, and she walked past them both. My thing is, if you know, because I'm like, the man has to know that Michael was married because he brought you to a hospital with his kids. So why make your presence known? If you brought him down there, go sit your ass in the damn car. Let him call you when he's ready, or drop him off and go the fuck home. Just get your mother, get out of here, man. That's what I would have said, but it is what it is. So we see that their daughter does wake up. She's saying how she's so stupid, and that she didn't want to die, but she was in so much pain that she just did something stupid. The mom's like, it's okay, you're just so young, you're a girl, and then Michael said, I'm so sorry, I didn't think about how hard you would take it, finding out about me. I'm just so sorry. And she's like, Dad, this wasn't about you. There's things that have been happening, and I just haven't said anything. And I'm like, oh my God, did somebody touch you? That's what I said. So, she then goes on to say how she's being bullied at school, and she thinks it's about a boy that likes her or something, and girls who used to be her friend started bullying her really badly, telling her that she, is a nobody, that she's nothing, and how she should kill herself, because if she killed herself, no one would care. Just saying horrible things that people say to people to make them do dumb things. She said how she didn't want to die, but, it was just hurting her so much, how she hates her life, how she's weird, no one likes her, she doesn't have any friends, and I feel like, wait a minute, no, you have a best friend, you want so-and-so, like, as thick as thieves, and she was like, no, she isn't my friend anymore, she's hanging with my bullies, and she didn't beat her ass, okay, that's what you need to do, this is whatever. And then she said, like, I hate my life. I'm nothing. I'm no one. No one cares about me. And they're like, you're a great person. We love you. Blah, blah, blah. You guys have to say that because you're my parents. And it was so sad because, I'm saying? Like, aw, little girl. So Althea then says her, like, look, you are strong. You are a champion. You are filled with the holy fire. And no one messes with you. You know what I'm saying? You're not alone. Those kids mess with the wrong family. And that's what you have to do sometimes. When people mess with your kids, let them know we are a family. We are units. And we're going to handle this together. Okay? Because that's how my family handles stuff. Okay? When things happen, it's a pack of lions coming at your ass, brother. Okay? So, we see that. So as they're comforting her and she's feeling a little bit at ease for what she's been through, a social worker comes in and basically telling her, your daughter has to be put, under surveillance for 24 hours, but they interview her, you can't be here. But of course, Althea already knows the process because she's a cop. And so she's explaining to Michael what's going to happen. And, he like, well, this is crazy. And she's just been through something traumatic. She doesn't need to be, saying locked up for, for a day without her family. She's come home. And then the lady say, you do know what'll happen if you guys, you do know what we can do if you make this difficult for us. You know the procedure. And then, Althea said, it's okay. We have to let them do it just to get it over with. So she says to her daughter, she's like, look, I just need you to be really brave. They have to do this. She's like, answer whatever questions they ask you. She's like, tell them the absolute truth. Because they basically are making sure that she's not a danger to herself. So they have to interview her by herself to see what the issue was. Why did she do it? And just hope that she won't try to hurt herself again. So I get it. But the way lady came in was real rude. Like, we would have had a fight. I would have cussed her ass out at least twice. Like, we would have at least had an argument for 5 minutes before I said it was okay. But because I think it's a cop and she just knows what's going to happen, she knew that arguing wasn't going to help. So she's like, I might as well just let him get it over with so that we can get her home as soon as we can, and let me reassure her that we are a family. We're going to be together. Just be really brave and, get this done, and then we're fine. And then we're going to handle it, okay? So her and Michael then leave, because, they know they don't have any choice at this particular time. And, Michael was upset in the hallway, and she's like, calm down. You know what I'm saying? She's like, nothing, no one is going to tear my family apart. No one from the inside or from the outside. Meaning, I don't care if you gay and you got a boyfriend, or if my daughter has bullies who's making her mad, no one's going to tear our family apart. And she's like, my family means everything to me. And she's like, and while my left hand might want to smack you in your face, my right hand is holding tightly to you and these kids. I'm like, yes, that is the perfect analogy of when you have a family who gets on your goddamn nerves for the craziness that goes on, and you might want to slap the dog shit out of them with one hand, but with the other hand, with the right hand, you was holding on tightly to your family to keep them together. Yes. And the way she said it was beautiful. And then he like, now let's go. And he like, where we going? She's like, home together. Because when you ain't going, it's with that man. No sir, no thank you. So the next scene, Chimney is on a date with this girl, Tatiana. He's fake cooking, he's making her like, don't come in the kitchen, I have to cook on my own, I just get self-conscious or whatever. We see he taking containers out the kitchen, out the refrigerator, and he's reheating stuff. So he even had someone else make some food, he order some food from somewhere else, and he's just heating it up. So he make a fake plate, whatever. At the table eating, she's like, and he was like telling her like, yeah, earlier we had this call where it was a bouncy house hanging off a cliff. I had to jump down and rappel down, and it was something that he didn't do. So he's one telling stories of heroics that he didn't do, and two, he's telling her he's cooking food that he hasn't cooked to basically impress her. And then they had dinner, and he proposed to the girl, and I'm like, how you proposing to her? Like, how does she not know you can't cook? Like, how you at the proposing stage that she don't know you can't cook? Like, how is that happening? I just didn't understand. And then when he proposed, she's like, oh, he's like, is that a no? And then she's like, he said, you didn't say yes. And she's like, no, but I'm not saying no. I'm just, she's like, I need some time to think about it. I'm just surprised. And then he's like, she then said, you should have talked to me before you did this. And he was like, so I should have asked you, could I ask you to marry me? And she's like, no, I just don't know, I just don't know what to do. I've been engaged before, and I cheated the week before the wedding. I'm like, that is not something to say to the person who just proposed to you. So in my head, I'm looking like they can't, now one, this is only episode 3. So, it is what it is. But, I'm like, clearly he more into her than she is into him. And then, she bakes his ass up for a few days so that she can think about it and she'll get back to him. If you propose to a girl and she don't say yes or no, just in the words of Young Joe, fuck that bitch. Why? Because at this point, you either know you want to marry someone or you don't. It shouldn't be I don't know if I should. I don't, I cheated on the last guy I was engaged to. Like, anyone who says that is not in love with you, in point blank, period. So we then see how he goes to work the next day, and he brings up how he asked her to marry him, and she said she didn't say yes or no. She said she needed some time to think about it. And they was like, oh, okay. Bobby then, like, one was on his breath, it's probably for the best. And he's like, what? He's like, oh, nothing, I ain't mean nothing about that. He's like, no, speak up to all my, and Bobby. So Bobby, Chimney said, of course, Chimney's in his feelings. Because Bobby then says, I just don't like her for you. I don't think she's for you. And, Chimney like, you always think you're right, and he goes on a whole little rant about stuff or whatever. Bobby then is like, he's real honest. He's like, look, she doesn't love you. You're living in a fantasy trying to portray yourself as a hero. You even had me cook you food to act like you made the food. So you make her think you're a chef and that you're this killer firefighter, but you're not. He's like, so you're lying to her and she doesn't love you. She's using you. You know what I'm saying? She's using you for this whatever. And Chimney, he gets mad. He's like, you know what? Whatever. I never even met your wife. How long have we been working together? You think you know everything, but you don't. Whatever. I mean, what Bobby said was true. Okay? It really was. And he's mad and he leaves. So he driving real fast or whatever. He trying to call Tatiana. She ain't answering, and he trying to get around his truck. So he trying to get the truck as he swear the truck for it. The truck like would not let him over. So he eventually gets past the truck and he's driving. But then it's like stuff in the road and then he almost crashes. But he comes just short to this median divider concrete block thing. So he stops quick. So as he stops, he's like, oh, thank God he made it. The damn car or truck that he was dodging a mile back comes careening into him and smashes into his car. I'm like, oh my God, he gonna be dead. That's a bad hit. It's a really bad hit. So we then see the next call. It's Chimney calling 911 saying, I was in an accident, send help, I can't move. And then the responding firefighters call Bobby's cell phone to come down to the scene because Chimney was in an accident. So when they get down there, the head guy says, yeah, he won't let anybody touch him, not until you guys get here. So he's like, okay, fine. So he tells Henry on the way back, he goes to the car. He bends down to talk to Chimney, and Chimney's like, yeah, I feel okay, but I can't move my head. I just can't move my head. Come to find out, it is a steel rod directly through his forehead, and Bobby looking like, because he's talking, he's coherent, and he's not freaking out. So he just all he knows is I can't move my head. He doesn't realize he can't move his head because it's a steel rod through it. So I'm like, oh my God, and because he's not freaking out, Bobby like, okay, we have to get him out, but we can't let him know what's going on because he can't freak out, because if he does, it'd be crazy. And they're like, how is he not in pain? And he was like, something about the membrane, I don't know, whatever it was, he wasn't in pain. He didn't feel anything at that point in time. So they get to the car, and he's like, I can move my legs, like I can feel my legs, but I just can't, I can't move my head. They was like, no, don't. And he's like, what's wrong? Why are you guys freaking out? And they were like, just don't move, just don't do it. And he's like, no, what's going on? And he's having a full-fledged conversation. And he's like, what I'm saying? Let me see what's wrong. So Bobby takes a small video, like he pans up from the bottom and up to his head to see the thing right there. And then he shows Chimney. And Chimney was like, there's a rod through my head. And he's like, yeah, there is. And then he's like, just get me out of here. He doesn't freak out. He's like, just get me out of here. They end up having to they had to strap him into the car, and they had to move the whole car to take him to the hospital. And so they had the car on top of a tow truck being taken to the hospital. Now, I saw a scene like this on Grey's Anatomy last season where someone was in an accident and they had to bring the whole car to the hospital because they couldn't get the person out the car and then transport them to the hospital, because by the time they got there, he would have lost too much blood. So they kind of did that whole thing, except it was a thing to his head. So at the hospital, they, take him into surgery, and they have to, cut open his brain and all this stuff. And they do pull the rod out, and then it was just, a lot of blood came out. And I was like, oh, my God, it's crazy. So that was that scene. So, we then see Abby at her mom's birthday party. Her brother was also there, and her mother's kind of just basically having issues remembering stuff because she has Alzheimer's. And, the brother bought her, her favorite perfume, and I don't wear perfume. And so Abby, sprayed some on her and said, no, Mom, it's your favorite scent. And her mother smelled it, and then she remembered, oh, yeah, okay, yeah, but who's having a birthday party? So she remembered the scent, but she forgot it was her birthday. So, the brother is there saying how, he felt like they need to put her in a home, and Abby like, no, bullshit, you know what I'm saying? She's fine with me, I got it. And he's like, I've actually already put her on the waiting list because it's a really good place. And she's like, I told you, I got it. We don't need to put her in a home. She's fine with me. I'm the daughter. I made the choice to take care of my mother. And then the brother like, but are you living? Since she's been here, you don't go out. You have no life. Is it fair? Because eventually she's going to need more care. And, at least take her to a facility. And Abby is kind of against it, but she still thinks about it. Because as she's looking at her mother, she's seeing that she is getting, weaker, and she's forgetting more, so it's getting more difficult. But at the same time, she's like, no, I made the decision to take care of her. So she's kind of torn between the two ideas. So the next thing we see is Chimney is alive. He's alive. But they had to put him in a chemically induced coma because when they took the rod out and did the surgery, there was a lot of bleeding, and of course his brain swelled. So they put him in a chemically induced coma to let the swelling go down to see if he would be able to walk, talk, or do whatever else, with his whole injury and stuff. And that's if he wakes up. And the whole time they talking about it, because it was Bobby telling the other people, the other, Hen and all them what was going on. I'm thinking, where the fuck is Tatiana? You don't care about him, girl? Where you at? So she just nowhere to be found. So the next thing we see is they're called to a big tanker truck, that there are people locked in the inside, and it's really hot outside, so the people are screaming for help, but they're basically cooking alive in this damn thing. So they get there, and when they get it open, some people are passed out on the floor. There was one kid who the father had to carry out, and they had to do CPR, but he did live. Hen was looking in the window to see, because the driver was gone, but she did see the driver's their license hanging up on the little visor thing. So it's crazy, crazy, crazy. They're on the scene, and we see Hen looking at the crowd. She's looking at the crowd, looking at the crowd, looking at the crowd. And then she spots the driver, and he's like looking as if he's just an onlooker. And she's like, "You!" And she runs and tackles him to the ground. And she's like, "You piece of shit," or whatever, where's the cop, arrested, this is the driver. So, of course, but it was cool to see her angry, because I think that's how she deals with what they deal with. She gets angry, and every once in a while, she tackles someone, so what's it was. So from there, we see how Abby calls Buck. And why Buck always answers his cell phone when he's on calls? Because Abby like, "Are you busy?" This fool said, "No, I'm on a call. What's up?" You was a firefighter at a scene, man. Put your damn self. If I was at a scene and I seen a firefighter on their cell phone, I think I'd be pissed. Like, man, look, motherfucker ain't doing his job. I would have been upset. So, she basically calls him to tell him that, I don't know if I mentioned to you, but my mom has Alzheimer's. She's getting worse, and my brother my brother suggested that we get her into a home, because she'll need more care or whatever. And then she's like, "But I feel guilty that I'm actually considering it, because I'm thinking she might need more help than what I can give her." He just says, like, "I know that's really tough. It's been a tough day." He's like, "But if I can think of anything I learned is within the past 24 hours, the only thing that matters in the end is family." Meaning, at the end of the day, if you have your family, everything else is fine. Everything can be going wrong, but if you have your family together and you're there with you, you will be okay. And she's like, "You know what? You're right. You're absolutely right." So that was a cool thing. So we then see a later scene where she's talking to Karla, and Karla's like, "Am I going to be out of a job?" And she's like, "What are you talking about?" So Karla holds up the brochure to the nursing home, and then she was like, this was sitting on the counter. He was like, "No, my brother put that over, for something that he was talking about." And she's like, "Well, it is a good facility." And she's like, "Is it?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's actually like hard to get in there." She's like, "So should I start looking for a new job?" And she was like, "No, I thought about it, and I just decided that, as long as my mother is here, I want my mother to be here with me." And I was like, yes, Abby. I would never put my mom in a home. I don't care. No. And I feel exactly what Abby said. As long as my mother is here on this earth in her older age, I'm not putting her in a home to be with anyone else. If I'm able to take care of her, that's what I'm going to do. Okay? Fuck my brother. I ain't doing that because her brother ain't shit. So, yeah. We see, Tatiana is at Chimney's house, and she's like putting up all this food that people have brought over. And Bobby is basically asking her to come down to the hospital because they're going to be waking Chimney up. And she feels like, if I come down there, people are going to tell me, like, I have to be there. I have to be like, Nurse Nightingale, take care of him, nurse him back to health. Then I can't break up with him until he can do this. I can't break up with him until he can talk again. I can't break up with him until he can walk in. I can't. She's like, it will always be reasons why people say why I can't break up with him at that point in time. She's like, what did she say? She said, I'm not a bad person, but I don't love him like that. And I don't want to have to lead him on from the think I will. Bobby's like, I don't need you to love him, but I know he loves you. And I feel like maybe if when he wakes up, he sees you, that would give him an extra oomph to want to fight, to come, to come back to us. And she basically didn't give a fuck, because she said, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And I said, well, look, and you know what? I can't fault her for that. You know what I'm saying? Because, again, it's true. When you give people false hope, people do expect you to stick around. So her thing was, before he got into the accident, we was already on shaky ground anyway. I don't want to give him any false hope and then have to let him down again. And it's an asshole thing to do, but at the same time, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And Bobby said she don't love you. And she doesn't, sorry, not sorry. Because she's like, sorry, I can't do it. So we then see, Althea, and she's sitting at the school, and she's looking at these girls. And come to find out, she was looking at her daughter's yearbook, and she saw the girl who was bullying her daughter and her friends. So she was looking at. I'm looking like, is out there gonna run them kids over? Like, what is she? Is she gonna kidnap them? And she gonna scare the crap out of them? And she gonna arrest them? But she just looked at them, and so she wanted just to see who the girl was that bullied her daughter so bad that her daughter wanted to kill herself. And Althea is a definite lioness protecting her cubs. And, girl, okay. So, the last thing that we see is Chimney is awake, and, Hen is there, Buck is there, and Bobby is there. So Bobby is holding his hand, and Bobby is talking to him, saying, you're going to be okay, we're here for you. And Chimney squeezes his hand because they asked the nurse, like, can he hear us? Like, is he alert? And she said, we talk to them as if they can hear us, even though he's not talking back. We took out the feeding tube, but he's not talking yet. But that does not mean that he can't hear you, because his face is swollen too, so you can't see if he's alert or whatever. You can just see him sitting there. So when they're talking to him, and he squoze Bobby's hand when Bobby said something to signal that he heard what they were saying. And then even when Hen said something, when Buck said something, he would either squeeze the hand and hold it, or squeeze the hand and let it go, or squeeze the hand and hold it. So he was in his own way communicating with them back and forth. And it was really great. We see how Hen says, she couldn't get a hold of his family, his parents, because they stay in, I think, another country, like Seoul, Korea, whatever. It's a 16-hour time difference. She says, so I think it might have just been a time issue where the time I called, they weren't awake. She's like, so I'll try it at a different time. And then Bobby says, it's okay, because his family is right here. And, that's how it goes off. So, again, I love this episode. Again, I like it to see the stories of the main characters, not just of the 911 calls. Even though those are interesting, too. But it's the main character stuff. I can't wait to see how Althea deals with this bully of a girl. I can't wait to see that story between Althea's husband and his man play out. And I want to see how they, can do work without Chimney being there. And if Abby and Buck is going to ever meet. So those are things that I'm looking to see. So that was my review of 911 Season 1, Episode 3. I am Jay Lee. This is Jay Lee's Corner. Make sure to put your comments below. Let me know how you liked the episode or did not like the episode. But until next time, peace.